of 1960s New Orleans, who, in his quest for employment, has various adventures with colorful French Quarter characters. It's kind of like Don Quixote for a more
Okay.
modern age, and it was a very popular book, and they tried to turn it into a screenplay. Well, they tried to turn it into a movie. Like the first, well, first they turned it into a musical comedy stage play, which was successful in college campuses and off Broadway theaters, particularly the Gate Theatre in London for the BBC Radio and stuff like that. In 1982, Harold Ramis was to write and direct an adaptation starring John Belushi as Ignatius and Richard Pryor as another character, but Belushi ended up passing away. Later, John Candy and Chris Farley was also thought to be play the lead character of Ignatius. But they passed away too. Like we just say. Yes. And director John Waters was interested in doing it, and he wanted Divine to play Ignatius, but she passed away as well.
That's what I mean.
And, yeah, and there was a version that was supposed to be directed by Steven Soderbergh. This is where the curse kind of breaks down a little bit. It was a version supposed to be directed by Steven Soderbergh. It's supposed to star Will Ferrell as Ignatius and Lily Tomlin as his mother, and also supposed to be having Mos Def, Paul Rudd, Rosie Perez, Natasha Lyonne, Alec Cummings, Jesse Eisenberg, some named a few, but because of Hurricane Katrina and also the head of the Louisiana State Film Commission being murdered, canceled the film.
Wow. Okay.
And Steven Soderbergh thinks that script is cursed, but he might have been saying it in jest. And it really kind of don't think it's also a curse because they've performed it on stage and like with some notable actors like Nick Offerman and Nick Offerman was playing the lead role, and Nick Offerman is still alive. His mustache is gone, but he's still alive. But mostly people who bring up Atuk will also bring up a Confederacy of Dunces because they think that both of them are cursed.
Apparently, Will Ferrell too.
Yeah, Will Ferrell thinks it's cursed too.
And Jack Black.
Oh boy, yeah. Do I think the movie's cursed? No, it's just a series of unfortunate events. Again, I don't think the script is cursed.
I don't think so. Like, why would these random ass comedies coming out of Hollywood be cursed? Like, who would put the curse on these movies? Who? Like, in order for a curse to happen, don't you have to have someone who puts the curse on the object or the movie or the person?
It depends on the culture. It's just, like sometimes, like I think that's more of a voodoo type, Caribbean type. Oh, you got a curse, or like Europe type thing. We got to put the curse, like a person puts a curse on an object or a person or something like that. Other cultures, it might just happen. It might be such
the
a thing
object or
happens.
The movie script just invites the curse onto itself.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking with this. It just invites the curse onto itself.
Okay. But neither seem like to us and what we've read seem like either of these movies are cursed or scripts are cursed.
Yeah, I don't think it's cursed at all. So I'm not when it's just like, oh my god, this film is cursed, and yeah, I don't see it. I really do not see it. Well, this film being cursed. It's just a series of unfortunate events that plague this thing, and I don't think it's. I just don't think that this Atuk is cursed. So.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems to have generated some buzz on the internet amongst conspiracy circles and things like that. But ultimately, of the 10, 15 websites I've read on this, all sort of come to the same conclusion as we just did.
Yeah, it's not cursed. It's just a very serious, of unfortunate events. Oh, man. All right. So you want to go on to the next curse? Okay. So apparently we're going to talk about this next curse is supposedly on a film that was, or a series of films that were completed. They were filmed. They're in a can. They're out there.
Okay.
They're sort of a success. We're talking about Poltergeist.
Great movie.
Yes. Now, if you're not sure with the film Poltergeist, I'll give you a brief synopsis. We're talking about the original Poltergeist here. The original Poltergeist was released in 1982. It was directed by Tobe Hooper, who's also most famous for directing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it was written by Steven Spielberg. Mark Victor and Mike Gaddis from a story from Steven Spielberg. There's also a rumor that Steven Spielberg is really the one who directed this film, but he denies it to this day, and that no, it was Tobe Hooper who directed the film. The film focuses on a suburban family whose home is invaded by magnificent ghosts who abduct their daughter, and they have to try to get her back. So you said it was a great movie. What sort of thing did you really like about?
Oh my goodness, the first Poltergeist movie. First of all, I saw it when I was a kid, so it definitely had a lasting impact on me. I mean, I'm not a huge horror movie fan, and I know you are. So I don't have this huge laundry list of horror films that I've seen in my life. So the ones I have seen, and the ones that are good that I have seen, are definitely quite memorable. And Poltergeist is high on the list, next to The Exorcist or The Omen or any one of those films. The Ring. Poltergeist, fantastic movie. Just a quality film. And I don't know if the curse you're about to mention is this, but I know there are stories that came out from the production of that film that are sort of they've been talked about unnatural things happening during the making of that film on set. So that I do have a little bit of a clue into some of that stuff. I don't know if that's what you're going to get into.
Well, yeah, there's been some deaths associated with this entire film series, and there was even during this filming that there was a rumor that they actually took actual human remains and used them as props
the movie is
throughout
based
the movie.
On a story of this family in this house disturbing Indian remains.
Well, they didn't disturb it. The company that built the house disturbed it. And it's the most famous lines out of the movie is screamed by the father, you move the headstones, but you didn't remove the bodies. You move the headstones, but you didn't remove the bodies. And yeah, they're coming through the freaking kitchen doors and shit like that. So,
yeah, my overall memories and love of that film, or I love that film from my childhood. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I know they made a remake of it recently. I have no interest in seeing it, but
I saw it. It was okay. It wasn't as good as the original one. But supposedly this film was cursed because of they said that some say that because of them using actual remains skeletal remains as props in the movie with the bodies are coming out. Also, there's a multitude of reasons. Like it is like deaths associated with it. Like the first death associated with this film is Dominic Dunn, who played the oldest daughter in the film. She was a rising star, and this was a she had been in television films such as The Diary of a Teenage Hitchhiker and television series such as Family, Heart to Heart, Fame. She gets cast in to play Diana Feeling, the teenage daughter, in Poltergeist. And like her star is really about to take off, and also the fact she comes from a famous family as well. Dominic Dunn, her father, is a famous crime American writer and investigative journalist and producer. Her brother Griffin Dunn was kind of famous in his own right. He was an American Werewolf in London, and he had been nominated for a Golden Globe Award for it was a movie After Hours. But her star was really starting to take off. She was young, very attractive. Pretty much what had happened was Dunn had met a guy named John Thomas Sweeney, who was a chef at a restaurant, Ma Maisons, in 1981. After a few weeks of dating, they moved into a one-bedroom house in West Hollywood. The relationship quickly deteriorated because of Sweeney's possessiveness and jealousy. The couple fought frequently, and Sweeney began physically abusing Dunn. Like one account, he yanked handfuls of her hair out by the roots during an argument in August of 1982. Then Dunn fled to her mother's house, where Sweeney showed up and made banging on her door and windows, demanded to be let in. Dunn's mother told him to leave and threatened to call the cops. A few days later, Dominique returned to their home and continued their relationship. So there was a history of domestic abuse by this guy against Dunn. And in October 30th, 1982, Dominic Dunn finally broke up with this guy in October. But on October 30th, this is 1982, a few weeks after their breakup, Dunn was in the West Hollywood home rehearsing for the miniseries V with an actor, David Packer. While she was speaking to a female friend on the phone, Sweeney had the operator break into the conversation. I didn't know this could happen back then. Dunn told her friend, "Oh God, it's Sweeney. Let me get off the phone." 10 minutes later, Sweeney showed up at Dunn's home. After speaking to him through a locked door, Dunn agreed to speak with him on the porch while Packer remained outside. While they were outside, the two began to argue. Packer later said he heard smacking sounds, 2 screams, and a thud. He called police but was told that Dunn's home was out of their jurisdiction. Packer then phoned a friend and told him if he was found dead, John Sweeney was the killer. Packer left the home through the back entrance, approached the driveway, and saw Sweeney in some nearby bushes kneeling over Dunn. Sweeney told Packer to call the police. When the police finally arrived, Sweeney met them in the driveway with his hands in the air and stated, "I killed my girlfriend and I tried to kill myself." Sweeney later testified he had done and argued, but he could not remember what happened after the exchange. He claims he could only recall being on top of her with his hands around her neck. Dunn was then transported to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles and was placed on life support, but she never regained consciousness. On November 4th, her parents consented to have her removed from life support.
Wow, that's tragic. So that was the second death, right? That you're recovering, or that's the first? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's the first death. The first death is associated with this. The next death, let's see, is Julian Beck, who played the evil spirit Cain in the sequel Poltergeist 2, The Other Side. He died of stomach cancer on September 14th, 1985 in New York. Will Sampson, a 53-year-old indigenous actor who portrayed the good spirit Taylor in Poltergeist 2.